What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday night. I've had a busy day today. We were running all over the place, getting parts and tools, and I had a couple customers I had to meet with today, so I really didn't have much time to take any good quality vlog video. But it's Tuesday night. The kids have been out here riding four-wheelers and quads and side-by-sides and whatnot, and they're out there cleaning mud off of them right now, and it's almost dinner time. But I've been working on this video a little bit this evening and I've got it ready to go. I just need to do this little clip to introduce it. So I'm not going to hold you guys up. This video you're about to watch is basically Billy and CJ Buckner doing their thing at Milan, Michigan, the Detroithoodtv Pour Your Own Puddle event. We're racing backwards at Milan in the shutdown on blacktop. There's a few helpful tips and tricks mixed in here with the voiceover, so hopefully y'all enjoy it. And leave me some comments and let me know what you think of the video. I really liked it. Of course I liked it. I'd put it together, right? I'm kind of biased, but I hope you do. It was a really good time. Got to spend it with some really good people. Check it out. All right, guys, it is Saturday morning and we are at Milan, Michigan for Detroithoodtv's Pour Your Own Puddle race, last one of the season, I think. Don't quote me on that. I know they do a winter series up here, but as far as the summer series, I think this is the last day or the last event for it. So what we're doing today is we're racing backwards at the end of Milan Dragway, and we are racing on blacktop. Now, generally, that's the same as racing on the street, but this place is a little bit different. There's a lot of different reasons why, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. But let's go up here and take a look at the surface we're racing on. All right, here we go. Burnout area. As you can see, there's a little bit of rubber buildup here. Not much, but there's some. Now, a little bit of rubber buildup here in the right-hand lane. Typically, the right-hand lane is a little bit faster here, or sometimes a lot faster. Let's check out the left lane. The left lane's actually starting to get a little bit of rubber on it. It's coming around. For a long time, the left-hand lane wouldn't take any rubber here. See, this is the starting line. You can see there's a little bit of rubber down. But generally, if you notice, the rubber doesn't start building up until about 2 feet ahead of where the rear tires are. So the initial hit in the left-hand lane tends to be difficult to get a hold of the track. Let's compare this to the right lane. Okay, you see the starting line. There is a significantly more rubber buildup back where the rear tires are going to be in the right lane than there is the left. And that's pretty normal for here. The left-hand lane here at Milan tends to be substantially more coarse than the right. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. Now, of course, I wasn't here the day this was paved, but asphalt that we use today, that we are racing on today, is made from distillation of petroleum. And depending on the batch of crude oil that they were using to distill the asphalt compounds, you tend to get a little bit better or a little bit worse mix of asphalt. That's one area that you can have a little bit of problems with from side to side, is if you're paving one day with one batch, you're paving the next day with a different batch. That tends to have an effect on things. The other thing is if you're paving in the afternoon in the heat on one day, and the next day you pave the other side in the morning when it's cold. You know, up north we have a wide range of temperatures throughout the season and throughout the day. whereas down south it's not so bad. So down south the roads tend to be tighter. They tend to be a little bit better as far as traction for racing on. Up north it's a little different. It's much more difficult to find some place that 2 lanes are the same. So let's walk down through here and we'll take a look at it. So we're in the left-hand lane here. No rubber, it won't take rubber. Pretty coarse. Right-hand lane is also pretty coarse, but there is a substantial tightness to the right-hand lane compared to the left. So generally we'll try and set up the tune just a little bit softer in the left-hand lane than we will on the right. We'll see how things go tonight. It's a pour your own puddle event, meaning we're pouring traction compound and doing burnouts in it. And it's very important here that the burnout is hot, high RPM, and straight. If you don't do a straight burnout, the tracks get closer together, and then when you go to back up, your tracks are too close together and you can't stay in your tracks as you back up. We'll cover all that at some point. I don't really have time today to go into it. We were running late to get here. The driver's meeting is just about to start, so we'll try and document as much of this today as I can as we go along. It should be a good time. All right, so we're getting ready to get started. Billy's got right lane. He's 8th pair. And we got a little nitrous Camaro, fourth gen Camaro. Pretty fast car. We've seen him race before with us at Marion. Really nice group of guys. Wish him the best of luck. But I think we should be okay, but anything can happen. We'll see how it goes. Anytime that you're racing on blacktop, as we are here at Milan, the best possible 60 foot will always result from a low ground speed, high wheel speed, high RPM burnout, and a good puddle of good traction compound. The key here is to do the absolute possible straightest burnout that you can. If the car tends to turn sideways in the burnout, or someone shoves the car sideways in the burnout, you'll notice that the burnout marks get closer together as the car moves forward. This keeps you from being able to back up into a full contact patch of rubber when you go to make your launch. Is to not overpower the track and put too much wheel speed into the rear tires on the launch. If you put too much wheel speed to the tires right on the launch, you're headed for big trouble. You're going to white smoke the tires, and at that point, it's pretty close to being over for you unless you can gather it up. CJ does a good job here gathering his up as he got on the second kit a little too early.
What are your expectations second round?
The left lane's usually not as good here. I'm hoping to get a decent 60 foot out of it, and then I'll just drive it. It's gonna spin down track, it's just going to. Hopefully it doesn't spin too bad and I can just drive through it. But it's gonna have a little wheel speed. It's inevitable in the left lane here, you're gonna have a little bit of wheel speed.
Billy's absolutely right. You have to control wheel speed. Have to do it. Now what we do with the S10 is we pull timing on the hit. We'll leave it a lower RPM, leave on gate pressure, and open the dump valves at a half a second into the run, and leave the dump valves open until after the truck gets into high gear. And even with doing all this, sometimes it'll still white smoke the tires as it makes the shift from low into high. Common problem with a power glide. Wide gear ratio change. Lots of torque. makes for a really tough gear change. And right here we find ourselves in a really bad position. Early in the day, we're in the left lane, facing down a very hard hooking nitrous Malibu wagon with lots of test runs up there. This is going to be a tough one. Once again, high RPM, high wheel speed, low ground speed, straight as possible. Stop as soon as you can to keep from picking up any debris and pebbles on the tires, and then have your supporting crew back you up in your tracks as straight as you can. And that's how it's done. Billy controlled the wheel speed early in the run good enough to hang right with the Malibu wagon, even though the wagon had jumped the light and hooked much harder in the right-hand lane. Probably had a faster 60 foot. But Billy's truck was right there with him. And then as the power rolled in, it did knock the tire loose on the gear change, but not so bad that he couldn't drive through it. And he drove away from the wagon regardless. So that played out about the way I figured it was going to. We were going to have to play catch up. Luckily the nitrous car couldn't quite hang on to it down track there, and he almost got into the wall. But Billy come around him. Billy white smoked the tires also, but we got the win. We'll be back for round 3. This was a buy run that CJ took in the Mustang. He elected to take his buy run in the left-hand lane. The reason for that is because he felt that he needed more data in the left-hand lane than he would ever need in the right. If we could get down the left-hand lane, we felt certain that CJ could get down the right. It worked out in his favor, as the next round he got paired with this really fast turbo Mustang. CJ ended up paired with Jasper Graham. CJ's in the left-hand lane, and Jasper, one of the fastest cars on the property, is in the right. As you can see, nobody wanted to bet on the nitrous car. The car nobody wanted to bet on, the little nitrous Fox body Mustang from Circleville, Ohio. CJ Buckner pulls out a win against possibly one of the very fastest small tire cars on the property. The little nitrous car held its own. CJ controlled the wheel speed early in the run and got on the second kit just at the right time without knocking the tires off. Not an ounce of tire smoke off that car. And CJ made the fastest pass in the left lane he's ever made right there.
Good shit. Good shit, CJ. Let's go.
So here we go, third round. You'll notice I always pour the puddle first on the side facing the center of the road. The reason for that is because every road has a little crown to it to run the water off to the side. If you pour your first puddle towards the inside and the last puddle towards the outside, you always end up with your last motion or your last puddle to be poured on the side of the car that's going to need to be held to keep the truck or the car straight. And that's why I do that every time.
Come on, Billy. Send this Fox body home.
You have to imagine that the Mustang thinks he's got a shot until the very last second. The boost rolls in hard right at the end. So we're in the final with CJ. Old Raggedy Ann, a couple of Ohio boys up here in Michigan. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's pretty cool because CJ was one of the very first people we ever street raced. In fact, it was the very first night we ever went street racing. CJ was there in his Malibu, and we raced CJ like 3 times. So it's kind of cool because the last time we were up here, we were in the final with CJ, and we're back in the final with him again. So it's pretty cool, man. You know, just to be with your friends from back home and people that have been there with you since day one, literally the first day we ever went street racing. So it's pretty cool. So we'll see how it goes. I'm pouring the puddle for CJ and backing both cars up, so we're going to do that in the final. I'll probably figure out which one wants to do it first, and then I'll do the second one last, and we'll get after it. Nitrous versus turbo. Small block Ford versus small block Chevy. Fox body Mustang versus S10.
Is everything all right?
Yep.
Yeah, good pass.
So you and CJ again.
Yep. We ain't
Foot racing this time.
No, we ain't foot racing this time. I got too much hell for it last time.
You can't imagine what that feels like to see that light lit in the left-hand lane when you just took out one of the hardest leaving, fastest small block nitrous small tire cars in the state of Ohio. And he was in the right lane. CJ made some wholesale changes trying to make sure he could seal the deal in the final. But the changes he made just didn't quite work out for him. I had him back in his tracks as good as I could get him, and the car did start to wheelie a little bit, but as it got out about 30 or 40 feet, it gained wheel speed, and as he grabbed the second kit, it knocked the tires off, and that's all it took. Billy made the fastest pass he'd ever made in the left-hand lane against CJ right there. We saved the best for our buddy. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?